We are talking about future life in the metaverse a lot, and some of those ideas are exciting and I can't wait to experience them, but some of them are chilling at the same time. So I guess it really depends on what we are making out of these new technologies that we have at our hands. So the question is, what metaverse do we really want in the future? As young people have even more future than old people, we invited 4 young speakers to discuss this question. They all met during the Digital Seeds program of Huawei, and I'm going to introduce them to you. A warm welcome to Antonia Kutschenreuter, who besides studying is also working for Acatech. Antonia is currently enrolled in the master's program Responsibility in Science, Engineering and Technology at the Technical University of Munich. She's trying to find answers to a burning question, how can innovation and technological change succeed responsibly and inclusively? A great question, a great topic. Hi, Antonia. Great to be here.
Thank you so much. Hi. Hi, everyone.
We have Yannick Brümmer with us. After completing university, he's not a student anymore. He's already finished. He joined Bosch Power Tools, where he now works as an engineer building powerful batteries. He did not only study mechatronics, he also built a driverless Formula student race car. That sounds great. And he's owned a VR headset for quite some time. Hi, Yannick.
Hi, Wolfgang. Excited to be here.
Welcome, Lukas Haack from Huawei. Lukas also just finished his studies. He studied communication and media computer science. His master thesis had a beautiful title, which was Virtual Immersive Concert. So Mehmet and Karim, he's a guy to talk to. Look, we have to quote something from his bio because his goal in life sounds pretty poetic. With passion for, I quote you, with passion for politics, music, technology, code and design, adventurousness and wanderlust, I travel this world in an open-minded way, ambitiously trying to make it a better place. Hi, Lukas.
I have nothing to add, thank you.
Yeah, what could you add to this? And we have a guest from Dublin, Ireland with us, Carolina Hein. She's joining remotely. Carolina works for the virtual reality company Realworld One. She has studied embedded systems engineering and she's currently doing her business master in management in Ireland. Hi, Carolina. Great to have you with us.
Hi, thank you.
Antonia, Carolina, Lukas, Yannick, let's start with your visions and your ideas, your feelings about life in the digital space. What do you wish for? What were your experience in digital space? You have about 1 minute each to share some insights so that we get to know more of you and of your ideas. And Antonia, you can start.
Hi. So I would like to start with a little anecdote. I was born in Chile. Most of my family is still living in Chile. And until I was 18 or so, I was impatiently waiting for my little sisters and siblings to have phones. So actually I have a quite close relationship with the internet because the internet finally enabled us to have closer communication. So I was really dependent on the internet for quite some years before I could travel by myself. And for my future, of course, I wish that youngsters, especially like young people like my sisters and siblings, can learn responsible handling the internet and also being responsible about their actions on the internet.
Great. Carolina, we could go on with your ideas and visions.
Sure. Thank you very much. I think that VR and AR will for sure not replace our real-life interactions. But I've been working since the beginning of the year at the company Realworld One, and there I've experienced great things you can do with the help of AR and VR, whether it be as simple as servicing a printer with a Microsoft HoloLens, which will display you the instructions where to find the suitable equipment, or whether it be to use in the future for education. For example, if a school would be too far away for children to travel, then it could be a great use to use AR or VR to teach them. And also in terms of training employees, for example, who use high technical devices that might be expensive, you could train them in VR so they actually know how to use them in real life.
Great, thanks. Lukas, you're next.
Yeah, so whenever we think about emerging technologies and especially the metaverse, we think about how can we and Caroline, you just said it, replace or substitute things that we already have. Especially now with the quarantine, we always thought about how can we replace the things that we currently cannot do with virtual means. And my dream of the metaverse or of the future developments of these emerging technologies is that we don't just replace and substitute things, but find new ideas, new solutions, especially cross-disciplinary research and collaboration is, for me, the way to go. And I envision a world where we can work cross borders, regardless of our background, regardless of our nationality, and create subcultures that is not really dependent on a place, or maybe not even on a time. And I think what has been said before, playing in a band and not even meeting each other, that's already going into the direction. So that's my idea of the metaverse: not substituting, but creating new ideas.
Great, thank you. And Yannick, what are your thoughts?
So, as a freshly graduated student, I'm taking the student's perspective here. The metaverse I want is an enabler for digital education, in the sense of making learning by doing, learning by experience possible for anyone, anywhere. Maybe let me explain that a little bit more. I wrote my master thesis, parts of it, about new learning. So, meaning the main principles: connected learning, self-centered learning, self-paced learning, competence-oriented learning. In writing all of that, I got quite frustrated because the way I experienced learning at the university was none of that. Was old learning, was mainly theoretical information thrown at you and let's see what you're doing with it. But I was also able to experience the other side. Working as a working student at Fraunhofer Institute, we try to take those new learning principles and teach kids, but also adults, the principles of artificial intelligence by letting them gain some experience, letting them touch some prototypes, build their own prototypes. And it was amazing how fast even the kids grasped the concepts of artificial intelligence. So for me, learning is experience, and the problem with that is the scalability. You can only put that many people in a room, give them some artificial intelligence prototypes, and that's where, for me, the metaverse comes into play. Where you can enable anybody, anywhere, to learn by experience and learn by doing things in the metaverse, in the digital space.
That's a great vision, but let's go back to what you mentioned about education nowadays. You know, we are in Munich, we're like standing right before our next lockdown, and we are meeting here, like we are here physically, but you are there digitally. So the pandemic is not behind us. So let's look back at the time, the last 2 years, where we had to interact a lot digitally because we couldn't meet physically. What were your digital high and low lights of those past 2 years? Maybe just examples where you thought, okay, wow, this was great, that's how it should be, and this is just not how it should be. Caroline, maybe we start with you in Dublin because you join us digitally.
Okay, that's a great point to start with. I think it's amazing that we can interconnect so much right now between joining conferences like here virtually now. And my highlight was definitely the Ideathon from Huawei that we all experienced together in VR, because it was not possible for us to travel to Berlin. We could actually meet in a virtual room and interact, and it really felt like we would be standing in groups and talking to each other. So that was really great. And another thing that I've experienced in my studies is that it is not possible to do online exams. So I was traveling here to Dublin and also last year to Denmark, and I still had to do some exams from Germany, and it was not yet possible to do exams online. So I really wish for that to come in the future, because I'm sure not only during times of COVID, this would be beneficial for a lot of students, but also give new opportunities to foreign students, for example.
Thanks. Antonia, what were your high and low lights?
So, as Carolina already said, definitely one of my highlights was also the VR hackathon. And also, I realized that the internet really enabled me and participating online to be closer to my family. I was taking care of my grandmother for a year, and at the same time, I could study. If university had taken place in Munich only, I wouldn't have had this quality time with my entire family. So I was really happy for that, and just also this realization that it could actually bring me closer to other people in other moments. Well, the lowlights were, of course, that university didn't take place, and I was really missing badly to connect with other people. And also just this, like, small things, like getting to know other people at a coffee or whatever. This is really something I missed a lot.
Yannick?
Well, the highlight for me was as well the Huawei Ideathon, but because I don't want to say the same as everyone, my highlight in VR, you already mentioned it, I already own VR goggles, is the gaming community actually. I really enjoy playing games in VR, and from normal gaming, you know, sometimes the community can be kind of toxic, but in VR I only experienced super nice, super supportive people there. So yeah, really surprised me, really positive surprise. My lowlight was actually job fairs, in digital job fairs. I finished my studies last winter and was really excited to go to some job fairs, as I had a hard time to decide which direction to go. And of course Corona was, and all the job fairs were digital. And I really don't want to blame the organizers, because they put in a lot of effort. Yeah, creating kind of virtual fairs with booths of the different companies, where you could click on videos and stuff like that. But what I was totally missing there, what I was looking forward in a job fair in presence, is that kind of strolling around, yeah, just getting some inspiration, maybe listening to some conversations others have with the companies. So that was completely missing in the digital job fair. And so in the end, I just ended up on the same companies' websites I already visited before. Yeah, and that was something maybe virtual reality instead of just digital job fairs could have done there.
Thanks. Now, I please say something else as a highlight. We know what one of the highlight was. Absolutely. And another lowlight.
No, of course. So when the pandemic hit, I actually just came back from an exchange semester where I met new people. I had a new city to explore, and I had great new input from university. And so basically the time of my life. And then I come back, and there's the pandemic, and you're locked into your room, and then you have a lecture virtually online, where the lecturer actually says out loud, "Oh, lectures historically stem from a time where not everyone was able to read. You're all able to read, so I'm going to provide you with the slides, and I'm going to have like half an hour for questions every week." So that was my absolute low light of education, university education, in my entire university life. My highlight then was when I was actually quarantined. I have experienced a virtual world through a video game, and it was not about the game mechanics or about the goal or the story of this video game, but just exploring this place and then sharing my impressions with other people who were also playing this video game. And I wish I could have done it within the game. So I think, yes, what you're saying about the gaming community is actually very true. And I also think that, like, looking forward from now on, it's maybe even an underestimated community, and they can support each other in a way that others maybe cannot. I love couch surfing and traveling. That was possible before the pandemic, and you meet so many people who have so many things in common with you, even though they live around the world. And this feeling I only had within this video gaming community, and I wish to have that within university, digital university, not just my free time.
Thanks. That sounds great. And you could just invent NFT couch surfing. Now, you all mentioned the ideathon. Let's have a look at a video. Then we get an idea of what the virtual interaction that you all shared was like. And maybe you can give us some feelings or the feeling that you had meeting virtually in a VR space without having met those people earlier in person, and if that worked out actually, and maybe what was different and what was just the same as meeting people in a room.
A very funny thing, Antonia, you can probably recall is we have met at the Ideathon. I mean, I have met a lot of students there or interesting people, but then after the event concluded, just like you would at a normal event, we just met somewhat next to the stage, and we even had like an after event chill out, and we talked and really got to know each other, but we have never met before. And then came Munich.
Until 1 a.m.
Yeah, yeah. In VR.
So was it just like, did it feel real to you?
Absolutely. Yes, it did. The funny thing was we never knew how we looked, so we only saw our avatars in VR. It was really cool, it was crazy, and we got along so well from the first minute we met.
And then we met at an actual in-person event in Munich, and just checking out, is that the person that I actually met online? And then, oh yeah, all right. And then from the conversation, it was like we would have known each other before. Probably this is the experience that people made, I don't know, in the early chat rooms of the internet, where they like texted
when you were
each
not
other.
born.
Yeah.
Caroline, you want to add something?
What Yannick earlier mentioned, that for the job fairs, it's not possible to walk around and listen to other conversations. I think what was pretty much the same in VR as in real life is that you can walk around, go to one group who's talking and then move on to the next, and then also connect with the speakers afterwards who were on stage and then later staying. So I thought that was pretty great.
Companies are saying, and especially one big internet company is saying, that we're going to have a lot more of this virtual togetherness, and they have some concrete ideas about it, and some are marketing talk about it. I'll confront you with a few ideas of this tech industry, and you say if you think that's a good idea, if you want to have that or not, all right? So we'll look at the virtual spaces we are all supposed to hang out. One CEO, you might know whom, I don't know, don't give you the name, said, you'll probably have a photorealistic avatar for work, a stylized one for hanging out, and maybe even a fantasy one for gaming. So do you think you need different avatars to show different sides of yourself for different occasions? Is that how it should look like a completely realistic avatar at work? Do you like this idea?
Definitely. Just like you don't wear the same clothes to work as you wear with friends in the evening. I totally like that idea.
So what would your business avatar wear? Tie or no tie?
No tie, definitely.
Okay. Antonia, what do you think?
I think I'd like to stick to my realistic, authentic self that I like to present as I am. I think I usually wear the same to work as I wear at home. So I'm not a huge fan of this idea.
Yeah, I would say going forward into the future, it would be great, especially when you think about digital spaces, that it's like it doesn't matter what you wear or what you look like. And when I think about like digital avatars and what they wear, I immediately think of digital shops, right? In-game shops. So I would love to have a world where it actually doesn't matter where you look, but more what you do or what you say.
Yeah, I guess there will be a virtual fashion industry. Probably it's already there. Caroline.
Yeah, the idea of the avatars just reminded me of games we used to play as kids online, where you could dress up some dolls or dress up hair. And I think I like the idea, just like Yannick and Lukas mentioned, that you could just create your own self and present you in a way that you want to be seen by others.
All right, we move on. A quick round this time. You will have a virtual home space inside the metaverse, and you'll also even have a home office in VR where you can work. Do you like that idea?
Yes, but it should never be a replica of an actual office. We should create new things.
Yeah, when you said that, I had the same image in my head that Lukas said, and I would say no to that idea.
I would work from the Maldives all year round, I think.
Good idea. Caroline.
I like the idea to have separate spaces in VR where you can still distinguish between free time in VR and work. But I would agree that I would make it a fancy place to work from where it's fun.
All right, last one. Every company will be there at the Metaverse at some point. If you are a car manufacturer, your brand presence is in the Metaverse. In the Metaverse isn't going to be a bunch of advertising for your cars. It's going to be a place where you can actually drive the cars around and feel the experience of it. Driving around expensive cars in the Metaverse. Yes or no?
Definitely, of course.
Perfect.
I love it.
No.
I thought so. Caroline.
No, because it's like I can't imagine yet how you would get the feel of it. It's just like riding a bike or something. I can't yet imagine how technology would transfer that to make it feel real.
One last question. Now, if you look ahead in 10 years and the Metaverse will be there, some Metaverse, whatever it is, what is the one feature that it absolutely needs for you? Lukas.
Collaboration. I think it needs to be a social metaverse where we can collaborate regardless of our background, origin. Yeah.
I don't know if you would call that a feature, but for me, the most important thing would be that it just doesn't matter where you are anymore. So especially in terms of working, I'm a huge fan of outdoor sports. So in my dream, I would just be in the mountains paragliding, and nobody would notice it at work because my virtual presence would be just as usual.
Perfect.
For me, that would be a responsible innovation and responsible AI. That's really important, I think, and also accessibility to the internet and the metaverse from also minority groups.
Great. Caroline.
For me, it would be that it is user-friendly and that all essential platforms are connected there that I need in my daily life.
Great. Thanks, guys, for these great thoughts and visions. All you people out there who are building the Metaverse, please keep this in mind. Thanks, Lukas, Yannick, Antonia, and Caroline.